What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another Fire Emblem Three Houses video on Fire Emblem Hype Week here on PlayerEssence. This whole week we are going to be having videos dedicated to Fire Emblem Three Houses and the launch this Friday. This Friday it's finally going to be coming out, and I wanted to go over my top 5 most exciting things, or things that I'm looking forward to the most in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, one quick little side note here: if you guys have not hit that subscribe button, if you're somebody new, please make sure you do so, and make sure you hit that like button as well to show the support on the channel if you do like the Fire Emblem videos. I will be having a brand new series of Fire Emblem Three Houses Let's Plays and funny videos debuting pretty much on launch day, so make sure you guys look out for that as well. So let's go ahead and get right into this top list here. All right, starting out first is the first HD console Fire Emblem game. To me, this is symbolic that Intelligent Systems and Nintendo have finally gotten to this point, considering where Fire Emblem was back in 2013, how their backs were against the wall, and I mean Intelligent Systems, to create a hit, because they'd had multiple flops in a row, or not necessarily flops, but underperforming games in the series, with the game on the GameCube, even Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, look at Shadow Dragon. A lot of these games didn't perform up to what Intelligent Systems felt that they could have based on the quality of the game, and they really needed to make sure that that game, Fire Emblem Awakening, was great. It was the first one on the 3DS. Now you fast forward all of these years to 2019, the fortune is just completely been turned around when it comes to the Fire Emblem franchise becoming a major franchise for Nintendo in terms of classification from Nintendo themselves, and now we have the first HD console Fire Emblem game, real Fire Emblem game. We're not talking about Tokyo Mirage Sessions, guys, although that's a great game. That is not a real Fire Emblem game, finally coming over to the Nintendo Switch, and that's extremely exciting as a longtime Fire Emblem fan, as someone who has loved the franchise so much. So I'm very happy about that, and it's just exciting to have that type of title attached to a game like Fire Emblem Three Houses, and coming out on a system like the Switch that takes what the portable side did, takes what the home console side did, puts together in the best possible package in terms of presentation and what you can do on a Nintendo system ever. It's just absolutely fantastic. So the first thing up is the first HD console Fire Emblem game. Very excited about that. Next, we have the Monastery, the Garrick Mark Monastery. That is a very exciting thing to me that they've put into Fire Emblem, and let me give you guys a number of reasons why. One, it's the first time that we've ever had a open-ended 3D controllable area that we can go to as like a home base. Now, we've had dungeons, so for example Shadows of Valentia, you could walk around in some dungeons and fight enemies, but this is the first time that it's actually been 3D controllable, where you can talk to people, side quests, all of that in a Fire Emblem game, and that makes it more of a normal RPG, right? Because if you've looked at Fire Emblem games before, they've never been structured that way. The closest thing that we've had to that is probably Fire Emblem Fates, with the My Castle stuff, to where you can kind of just move around, kind of go talk to some people, do some cooking, do stuff like that. You have the barracks, so that's probably the closest thing that I can think about. Fire Emblem Fates, Fire Emblem Awakening had a little bit of that with the barracks and stuff, so that would be it. Outside of that, we really haven't had anything like this, and that's extremely exciting as someone who's been playing Fire Emblem games for decades now, and at this point, to see them actually go with that full open-ended area and to have side quests like a normal RPG and everything, I think it just kind of further bridges the gap that some people have in their minds about what Fire Emblem is and what a strategy RPG is compared to what normal RPGs are, because all strategy RPGs are just regular RPGs or turn-based ones with a bit more depth, where you move your character and you take the positioning into play instead of just rolling up to a battle and starting like a turn-based battle where you're just standing there in place. So that's all strategy RPG is. So I think that's also piqued the interest. The Monastery and how you go about and do things there has made it very appealing for many people, and for myself, being able to play it already and see what the Monastery is and walk around and experience that, it was just absolutely beautiful, and it looks phenomenal. So this is definitely one of the most exciting things about Fire Emblem Three Houses. All right, moving to number 3, we have side quests, and in particular fishing. Fishing is one of those side quests that everybody likes to do it. It doesn't matter what RPG it is. It doesn't matter, heck, sometimes even how great it's executed. If you have fishing, you've already been raised up a point or two. And if the fishing minigame is actually good, then oh my gosh, you've got yourself a certified hit when it comes to side quests. And I love the fact that they put in fishing and side quests into this and in the open world. It's kind of a tag team with my last point, because you have these side quests that you can do that really fill out the adventure for you, and it doesn't feel like it's so stagnant in between the bigger missions. I love the fact that you can do like some side missions where you can train. I love how you can go and talk to other classmates and kind of get their opinion on things. You can do side quests for them. You can kind of understand their relationships that they have, what they like, what they don't like. You can go eat with them. There's so many different things that you can do to kind of fill out the backstory and fill out the bonds that you have with your students, with all of these side quests and all these different things that you can do that give you benefits and give you actually things that tangibly you can use in the game when it comes to combat, when it comes to leveling them up. All of that is also very exciting as well, and one of the things that I think Fire Emblem Three Houses did very well based on my short playtime with the game, based on what I've seen from other videos out there. It's one of the things that's well done about the game in terms of how the students are, what you kind of do with the side quests, what they're requesting, what some of the stuff that you can do in them. It really does seem like it's a full, well thought out process. So that has me extremely excited to go through the side quests and fish. Once again, you have to fish, but it's not only just fishing just to fish, but you can actually use those fish in the cafeteria. And if people really like fish and you capture really rare fish, that's going to boost the ability for certain students to learn if they like certain types of fish. So it kind of all ties back in to the game itself and what you're going to be able to do. So awesome stuff all around from the side quests and the fishing. So that's also a very exciting thing about Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now moving in to the second to first state here, and that is the new combat options. Combat in general in Fire Emblem has never felt more satisfying. From the slick animations of different swords or shields and weapons moving in a particular way, to the new options like the gambit system and the new support system and what you can do there, and also with the combat troops around you and being able to level and customize them. Fire Emblem Intelligence Systems has taken it to the next level when it comes to combat in this, and strategy and preparation. If you're somebody who loves to plan out your battles and be very meticulous in what you do, Fire Emblem has systems and mechanics for you. If you're someone who wants to just kind of go through and enjoy the smoothness of battle and experience the story, Fire Emblem Three Houses has combat options for you, has stuff for you to use and stuff for you to play in the game. It really is very flexible when it comes down to it. And if you're looking at it, when it comes to the series, the best presentation and the best controlling Fire Emblem game that I've ever played, now that we have it back to where you can play on a pro controller, it just feels smoother than ever. The combat feels better than ever, and there's a lot of cool options that support what they're doing in this particular Fire Emblem game. And that's why so many people have had so many positive things to say about Fire Emblem and the combat and the battle systems and what you can do. It really is a joy to play, whether you're a newcomer or you're somebody who is a Fire Emblem veteran out there. So the new combat options and what they're doing definitely makes me extremely excited to play, and probably the best thing that I thought I would have had. But Fire Emblem Three Houses is very unique. So we're getting into number one, and my number one most exciting thing about Fire Emblem Three Houses is the story. We've seen this before with multiple paths and stuff like that, but it was different perspectives on a path. This is literally 3 different paths that you're going to all be able to play in one game. The content and the story, what you're getting in this full package, are pretty much my most exciting things. All the different gameplay hours, all of the story and what you're doing with the 3 different paths, and how it is going to be 3 completely different paths once you get into that second phase, the war phase, the 5-year time skip. It really is multiple different paths, and your decisions, who you recruited, what you can do, actually play a factor into each path there. And the fact that they're sitting there and saying, you've got to play this game 3 times in order to experience the full story, or there's 3 times of content and different things that you can access through each path. That just has me extremely excited with what's going to happen in each story path and what can you do. Can you change certain things? What's going to happen in each one? What's going to be the fate of each of these young lords in this story and in their individual paths? Fire Emblem games have always had very emotional and gripping stories. Some games have had better ones than others, but I've always been generally intrigued and excited to go through the stories in Fire Emblem games. But I have to say, this is probably the most excited that I've been to experience a story in gaming in a very long time. Probably since like Mass Effect 2 and after what happened in Mass Effect 1. That's probably the most excited that I've been to experience a story, and this is probably right next to that because it just seems so intriguing with these 3 different paths and your choices and what you're going to be able to do in this game. So those are my top 5 most exciting things about Fire Emblem Three Houses. What are you most excited to play in this game? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.